So we're off to Blue Cross today to go and pick up a mum and 4 kittens. We don't have a huge amount of information about this case, which is quite often the way when I do go and pick up kittens. So we're hoping that Blue Cross will be able to give us a bit more information when we get there. And we're about 20 minutes out now, so it shouldn't be too much longer. Sometimes when I go to Blue Cross, I get really lucky and I get to meet some of the other animals on site. So we got to meet this really lovely dog who had an adopter lined up, but at the time was in foster with one of the on-site staff members. So that was really lovely. Whenever I pick up fosters, there's always paperwork to be done. So that was just me signing all of the paperwork and getting their medication. So I had some Panica and I had some flea treatment that needed to be given. So I usually pop that stuff in my car ready, and then this is the kittens all loaded up, ready to go. They are so sweet. So we're on our way back now. We've got mum and 4 kittens. I did manage to get some of their backstory. So mum's owner couldn't look after her anymore, so she was given to somebody else that her owner knew. In that time period, she managed to get pregnant. She's had the babies. It was a little bit too much for the person to deal with, which is completely understandable. So they've come over to Blue Cross. They are estimated to be about 7 to 8 weeks, which is a little bit unusual because usually I get kittens a little bit younger, but all that means for us is that we won't have them for very long. So rehoming and adoptions with Blue Cross for kittens are usually done at 8 weeks. So it'll be super important for me to get loads of pictures straight away so that we can get them up onto the website as soon as possible so that they can get ready for adoption. They had their microchips and first round of vaccinations today. The kittens, we have 3 boys and a girl. At first look, they all appear to be tabbies and they're all super cute. So upon looking in the crate, what you're going to notice is I see one of them has their arm stuck through their collar. So because they're just little Velcro collars, if they're too loose, they can pop their front arms through. So that's what I'm doing here. I've literally undone his collar, obviously taken his arm out of it. It wouldn't have been hurting him at all, but obviously it's not convenient. And then I've literally undone it and done it back up to a good tightness. Okay, 1. Oh. Hi. 2. Come on then. 3. Yeah, I put the camera in front of it annoyingly. 4. Whoa. So once I take my kittens out of the crate, I will always remove the carriers. Obviously, it's quite important that cats have a good relationship with carriers, just because it makes it easier to take them to the vets and things like that. But in these instances, I will always just remove them, as I don't want them to be an extra cause for stress. They do have lots of places to go and hide should they so choose to. So by removing the carrier, I'm not taking away their only option for hiding. It's super important with a cat setup that we do give them lots of places to hide. So you'll see in these videos that the kittens are out and exploring, but mum has actually gone in the cream box in the back corner of the room. So she stayed in there for maybe 10-15 minutes before coming out, just to let her kind of settle in, and then she went for a voluntary wander. So I don't force them to do anything. They do exactly what they want when they want to. So this is just the kittens settling in. Healthy kittens typically will always just get straight to playing. Even when they're a little bit more scared, they will start playing. It's just a kitten thing. So it can take a different amount of time, obviously, per litter. Because this litter were a little bit older, they were a little bit more active straight off the bat. Obviously, if you picked up kittens that were 4 weeks old, they're not going to do a whole bunch because they're little potatoes and they don't tend to do too much at that age anyway. But especially if you were to have older kittens, as you can see, they make full use of everything in this room all of the time. So the next step in my process of bringing kittens home is I like to do my own paperwork. So Blue Cross do provide weight sheets for me. However, I do have my own. So if you didn't have a printer or something like that, that is something they will just give you. It's really important that we weigh kittens. My paperwork consists of names, date of birth, intake date, and their intake weights, the date that their panica is due, which is their wormer, their age in weeks. So I have week 1 through to week 8, and I can write the date of which they will hit each of those milestones, and then also the date in which I take them back to the centre. So this paperwork I find helpful, not just for myself, but also for foster dad. So if I was out and something was to happen to them and he needed that information immediately to give to the vets, he has all of that information to hand, as do I. If for whatever reason I couldn't remember or I was in a panic and I needed information, I literally have it all written down so there is no mistakes. Once the paperwork is done, I move on to weighing. So I'm going to do all of their weights quickly before I feed them, just so that I've got accurate weights beforehand. So I'm going to plug my scales in, turn those on, drop that down there. So I've got a whiteboard, which you can't see. So up here, I'm literally just going to write the names of each of them, and then we're going to start writing their weights down, and I'm also going to do it on my sheet for them. I'm terrible with remembering their names when they first get to me. So we've got Malfoy, Dobby, Neville, and Myrtle. What day is it today? It is Thursday, and it's what is the date today? 16th. So there's no rhyme or reason to who I weigh first. I typically just go for whoever's closest. So this is a no collar. So you are 1.19 kilograms. So that's perfect. I need to work out who that even is. So the no collar is Neville, and he was 1.19. 1.19 kg. So next up we've got this big girl. She is the only girl. She's a long hair. Her weight is 1.12. So she's done. It's okay, sweetheart. So pop that on for her. 1.12. So she weighs slightly less than her brother. You're already done. Come here. Good job. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So this is another little boy. He is 1.12. He is, white collar is Malfoy, 1.12. So that leaves one more. That leaves blue collar, who is in the box. No, they're all in the box, so I can't get to any of them. So last one for the weigh-in, we have 1.15. All done. Where's my pen gone? Put my pen down. 1.15. So all their weights seem really good. I will now go and prep their food. So typically I tend to feed mums separate from the kittens, just to make sure that everybody's getting the right amount of food, because sometimes mums can take their food, sometimes the kittens can take mum's food. So mum has hers just on the other side of the barrier right now. And then we are going to put these all down and see who is hungry and who wants to eat. I would have thought they were all hungry. But you never know. Are you hungry? Come on. Who's hungry? Come on, yeah. It's lunchtime. Come on. What's this? Come on. So I always like to make sure that everyone's eating from their own plates. Again, just helps with the management side of things, so I can make sure everybody's eating as they should be, and that no one's missing out, no one's going hungry. State your bowl. So this can take a little bit of management, especially if they come from a house where they were eating all from the same plate, which can be quite common. But I find it slightly harder to manage who's eating what that way. So I definitely prefer doing separate plates. Little blue collar's just gone to the toilet. They don't seem overly fast. But I do think there is 2 different flavours down, so that might be contributing to that. So it did, in fact, turn out that they didn't like the food. So their diet had to be changed. They had to be on a different food, a different dry biscuit, which in turn upset their stomachs. So we had a bit of a mare with this one. By the time they left, they were all more than happy to eat. They had healthy appetites. It was just this food. They really weren't that keen. And I feel like I needed to put this in here just because I think you can kind of see my confusion with the fact that really nobody wanted to eat. Ordinarily, you put food down, kittens eat straight away. Obviously, once they're weaned, that's not always the case when you are weaning. Sometimes they can be a little bit iffy with the food, but once they're already weaned, ordinarily that isn't an issue. So this is definitely something to look out for. Like I said, once the food was changed, they ate perfectly fine. You put the food down, they'd run to it, they'd eat it, they'd carry on with their day. So this was definitely a new one for me, but definitely a good lesson. And then this is just a photo of each of the 4 babies before they got adopted. They were all adopted, so they've gone to their forever homes now. And yeah, thanks for watching.